Let's talk with Keith in Florida. Keith has a polyvagal specific question. Keith, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. Hello, good afternoon, Christy, V, and Justin.
Hi.
I hope you guys are enjoying your own show so far.
It's going good. Justin has a lovely radio voice, so I'm just very happy with this guy in my ear. What can we help you with tonight?
Yeah, so the more I hear, the more I'm not sure if I'm just completely off base here. But what does polyvagal theory, how can we use this when we're looking at things like panic attacks that cause people to completely lock up and stuff? Like, how can this be useful when we're in those situations? Either in the situation where we are the person having the panic attack, or when we're around someone who's having a panic attack. And again, maybe I'm completely off base.
No, it's a natural, great question based on what we're talking about. No, absolutely not. So I think first off, polyvagal theory is the science of our biology, of mammalian biology specifically. It's not exactly a prescription of what to do. It's more of like, here's the explanation, right? So I want to go a little bit deeper into what you're describing, because I've laid out the primary autonomic states, which is the safe and social state at the top, flight, fight in the middle, and the shutdown state at the bottom. But it is possible to mix these states and have two of them active at the same time. And that's called a mixed state. Kind of like we have primary colors, and you can mix the primary colors and get secondary colors, right? So you can mix these states and get mixed states. So if you have the safe and social state active along with the flight fight state, that's called play. It's a mixed state called play. So you're super active, but you're safe, and there's a lot of face-to-face contact and smiling and laughing. That's called play. When the safe and social state is active along with the shutdown system, that's called stillness. That's like, you can be self-reflective, you can fall asleep, you can use a restroom. That's the capacity to be still but safe. And now when you mix the flight-fight energy plus the shutdown immobilization, that results in freeze. So you're very wound up. There's lots of flight-fight energy in there, but you immobilize. And this is very true for things where, like sexual assault, someone who survives in sexual assault. This is extremely true, potentially, for that, where the flight-fight energy is active, but they're also immobilized at the same time. That's called freeze. Now, day to day, the way someone might experience freeze is through a panic attack, where there's lots of especially anxious anxious flight energy. So you're really wound up, the heart rate is going, but there's also this immobilization. So it results in this very tense, stiff panic attack, right? Your breathing becomes very shallow, and your thinking is like, you can't really choose to stop doing it. So that's the explanation of what a panic attack is. Now, what to do about that, for me, the benefit to that, the way to deal with that is before the fact. So we want to ideally build the strength of our social engagement system, the safe and social state, as much as possible, so that when that anxious flight energy kicks on, that you're more able to tolerate it, and it doesn't actually go into a full-on panic attack. So that's the way to handle it in the long run. In the short run, that's very individual. It's what works for you as an individual, what works for that specific person on how to cope with or deal with a panic attack. But the money is, like, the long run is how can you develop the strength of your social engagement system? It's called your vagal brake. How can you develop that stronger so you can handle that intense energy that comes along, especially when you do like trauma work. When you do trauma work, there's lots of that defensive energy that comes up. And so you have to be able to handle it before going deeper into the trauma work. But that's kind of the polyvagal explanation of what a panic attack is.
So I actually so I have issues personally. You've got me off on a tangent now here. I have issues where I personally don't have a license, and I find learning to drive to be very stressful. I'm constantly concerned that I'm going to do something wrong and honestly kill somebody, and that absolutely terrifies me. And I can feel myself building up to this point where my brain wants to completely just shut off. Now, if I understand what you're saying correctly, I need to find a way to strengthen something, and I'm sorry, I'm not sure what it is. What would I need to do to try to build up my tolerance so that I could learn to drive, or other situations where I have a similar issue?
It's called the vagal brake, and the vagal brake is not a thing that lives within our brain or something. The vagal brake is the influence of the social engagement system on the heart. So if your social engagement system is active, that keeps your heartbeat at a calmer pace. If the vagal brake comes off, which meaning if your social engagement system is inactive, your heartbeat goes up instantly, like significantly, and your body is now primed for running away or fighting. And this could be this could be so many different scenarios. So like for me, I love doing these interviews, right? Or I love doing presentations, but my flight energy kicks on. The more I do them, the more I build my comfort level and whatnot. I get less flight energy every time I do them, but every time I do something new that I don't have a capacity for, like doing this live, I feel more flight energy because this is new for me. It's out of my comfort zone, and the way that I am tackling this is basically going head on into it. But I can also do things beforehand, like I played with my son. We ran around, we were hitting each other with swords. Like I had all this energy, and the way I used it was by playing. I saw Christy right before the thing started. I think he was dancing. Was that what you were doing, Christy?
I don't know if I would call it that, but I was, getting in sync with the music a little bit as the intro comes in.
That's what it was.
Yeah, it's a stage presence thing. Come on.
So part of it is building the strength of your vagal brake. So spending more and more time in your social engagement system as best you can. It's not easy, I know, but the best you can. But the other part of this is when you do notice that sympathetic energy come up, is to know what works for you. And for me, drawing is a good way. Playing. I also know that if I look at safe faces, so I looked at V when I was feeling like really kind of like, whoa, like my energy was going way up a little while ago. I looked at V's face. V has a very safe and social face for me. It's a beautiful smile. It was like I instantly just felt like, okay, I can breathe. I'm okay, and I got back on with it. So hopefully that makes sense. That building the strength.
That's the best thing that any guest on this show has ever said. So congratulations.
So
I bring my A game.
Takeaway here is put a picture of V on your dashboard, and or a Jesus or whatever, just helps you feel more comfortable, right?
Yeah.
Those are the two options, by the way, V or Jesus.
Right, exactly.
There you go. So part of this is long. Wow. Part of this is the long-term building of your vagal brake is essential. And that's really what kind of the heart of therapy is, I think. But the other part of this is in those short-term moments where you are in a panic attack, or you do feel that energy building up before it's a full-blown panic attack. What works for you? And so looking at someone's face that's safe, that could be very helpful. I used to do presentations, and I would feel my energy getting really wound up. And I knew for me that if I leaned forward, I don't know why, if I leaned forward, that was soothing for me. So I told my co-facilitator, I'm like, hey, if I do this, that means I'm like, you need to take over. Because if I lean forward on a chair, that tells you that I need to like self-regulate. So it's like noticing the energy building up, and then noticing for you in particular what works. And you have to be really curious and kind of experiment and just notice what works for you as a way to cope with or deal with a panic attack.
That's really interesting. That makes a lot of sense, actually, because I, amongst other things, also have terrible anxiety with pretty much any social situation.
Yeah, me too.
And I know that if I have somebody that I know and trust around, that it's easier for me to throw on my public persona and such. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, thank you very much for that information.
You're welcome. Yeah. You're very welcome. And I'm 100% with you. I can't stand social situations. And I feel like I'm a pretty safe and social person, but like, I don't know, something like I can't stand potlucks. I cannot stand I'm tired of signing birthday cards. I am tired of showing up for baby showers. I'm sorry, but I am. And I know that about me, and I know that if I have to go to one of these darn things, I do really well in the back, and I'm fine with that. And I know that there's a couple of people in the room that I feel really good with and just safe, and I can function just fine. So I just make use of that, and I don't judge myself for it. And at this point, all my coworkers know that about me. And it's like, I don't want to be here. Here I am. I'll be in the back. Just let me do my thing.
Well, thank you so much for calling in, Keith. That's an awesome question, and good luck learning to drive.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a great night.
You too.
Appreciate it.